Hi everyone, it's Phil here from Ashland Leather. Let's have a preview of some of the wallets that we're shipping out today. There's an all-reverse Color 8 shell Cordovan Fat Herbie, a black shell Cordovan Bugs Moran with a reverse interior, a garnet shell Cordovan Johnny the Fox with a reverse interior, a Color 8 shell Cordovan Johnny the Fox with a reverse interior, a jumbo fox with black shell Cordovan on the outside and Color 8 shell Cordovan on the inside, an English tan Dublin Bugs Moran, a natural Chrome Excel Bugs Moran, a black Dublin Johnny the Fox, and then we have two special small batch wallets that are going to become active and on sale tonight at 6 p.m. Central. There's a black marbled shell Cordovan Frank the Enforcer and a Color 8 marbled shell Cordovan Johnny the Fox with a mock horsehide interior. And if you stick around to the very end of the video, I have a special surprise for all of you. So I thought it'd be fun to have a Cordo train today. Let me start off by showing you this incredible piece of Color 8 reverse shell Cordovan on the Fat Herbie. And look at the random die marks on this guy. That is very, very striking. There's a lot more vibrance to the die marks on this one that I don't often see on the reverse. It's like a little bit more of a vibrant sort of reddish purple color almost. And then all the patterning is very, very interesting on this one. Let me give you a look at the inside with more Color 8 reverse on the left and right. And on the inside here, that's actually the Color 8 shell right in the center. So that's what the normal Color 8 shell Cordovan looks like. If you flip that backwards, it looks more of like this orangey reddish tan with all the random die marks and the Horween ink stamp. Now, speaking of that Horween ink stamp, take a look at this one. This is another really interesting reverse piece, but this is the black reverse. So I'll give you a look at the outside. This is a Bugs Moran in black shell Cordovan with a reverse interior. So the black shell on the outside here is magical looking. It's got a really great bright shiny luster. It's almost like a modern futuristic look with the way the light bounces off the black shell. But I love this random die mark on the inside here. All these random colors and texture. It's a really interesting Bugs Moran. There's a lot of reverse shell Cordovan in the batch today. This one on the outside here, this is garnet shell Cordovan. This is the most red color of shell Cordovan that Horween makes. And take a look there. This has a really dramatic color shift. So some angles, more of the red pops out like that. And then other angles, it's a little bit darker. It's like the color shifts right before your eyes. And let me play with this one in the light a little bit just so you can see the range of color. It's very challenging for me to take still photos that gives you an accurate representation of what all these different shell Cordovan colors actually look like in person. So I try to do the videos here, angle them around, but take a look at the inside here. This is a reverse interior, and this is a Color 8 reverse again, that more orangey, reddish tan color. On the reverse side of the Color 8, I think that is really neat. And here's another reverse interior of the Color 8. This one's a little bit different. You can see that they're all random, and they do have a little bit of a sheen to them. It's nowhere near the bright shiny luster of a regular piece of shell Cordovan, but the reverse side does have a nice little face to it. Let me give you a look at the outside here. This is the classic shell Cordovan color, the Color 8 shell. And this one also has that bit of color shift. And you can see it's a little bit lighter when I go this angle. It's like that dark brown burgundy shade. And when I angle it more this way, it's more of just a standard brown. So more of the reddish light tones come out at certain angles. I think that's really fascinating. All the shells, other than the black, really have a nice color shift. And in fact, here is a black shell piece, but this is the Jumbo Fox. Let me give you that same demo of tilting the black shell. You don't really see too much color difference. It does get a little bit lighter, but it's more of like a flat black color. There's not too much color depth on the black. Let me give you a look at the inside here. This is Color 8 shell Cordovan on the inside of this Jumbo Fox. And these are special for us. We actually don't offer these as a standard item on our website, but we can make them. And the big difference between the Jumbo Fox and the Johnny the Fox is this inclusion of an additional bill slot divider in the center here. So you can see there's one more little piece of leather that you can separate out your bills, but then there's also 4 card slots on each side with 2 hidden card slots. So there's one additional card slot on each side of the Jumbo Fox. And we're kind of getting off the Cordo train for a minute, but this is some Dublin. And the reason I wanted to show you the Dublin next is because the Dublin leather is actually tanned using the same tree barks as the shell Cordovan. So you get a lot of the same sort of veg characteristic that the shell has, but it's a totally different result. And I find the Dublin to be most characterized by this incredible grain character. It's just very grainy, has a lot of natural character to it. And something like this English tan Dublin has that nice, vibrant, orangey sort of undertones to it, a little bit darker brown on the surface. All of the Dublin leather is a veg tan leather with a wax finish layer on the top. So when you flex this leather, you can actually mobilize a little bit more of the waxes and start to reveal some of the undertones of the leather. So you can see where I've pulled up, the color has lightened a little bit. All we're doing there is moving the waxes around. And speaking of pull-up, this is the classic pull-up leather. This is chrome excel leather, again on a Bugs Moran. But this is in the natural color. So natural chrome excel is a little bit more of like a light taupe color. It doesn't have as much vibrance and oranginess as the natural shell Cordovan does. But we were mentioning pull-up. And chrome excel is perhaps the most iconic pull-up leather. Let me give you a little bit of flexing on this one. So you can see where I've pulled up the leather in the center. I've basically applied some pressure from underneath. You can see the color has lightened significantly. And that's a very distinguishing feature of chrome excel, that pull-up effect. What's really interesting about it too is when you rub it back over again, like I'm doing right now, we mobilize those waxes again, and it kind of darkens back into place. So it's a little bit of a parlor trick that you can play on the chrome excel. And one more non-Cordovan wallet to show you. This is a black Dublin Johnny the Fox. And for me, I think the black Dublin is perhaps the best and most interesting black leather you can buy. And best is totally subjective, but what I like about this one is that most black leathers are really painted looking. The black Dublin from Horween is very natural. And what I mean by that is if you look closely at this leather, you can see all the fine detail in the grain. All those little bits of highs and lows of texture, those are all natural. And that's because the Dublin is an aniline finished leather. That means that there's been no pigments or solids applied to the surface. So you get to see straight down into the natural character of the leather. A lot of black leathers in the world are very heavily finished and really painted on. So it starts to look a little bit more like plastic than leather at a certain point. On the inside of this wallet, this is a horsehide latigo from Horween. We have this leather specially made for us by Horween to be really, really thin. So even with all the layers of leather in this wallet, you can see the thickness is very, very reasonable. I tend to like a thinner wallet. And a lot of people think that thicker leather is more durable. I think that's perhaps the case, but in our wallets, I've never seen a thin leather be a problem. They don't tend to rip. And that's because the leather's been properly tanned. And the way we construct these is we consider the failure points. So we reinforce all of the stress points on the stitching of this. We don't really see the thin leather fail. All right, let's take a look at some of the small batch stuff that's going to be going on sale later this evening. Let's start off here. They're both marbled shell pieces. We've been doing a lot of marbled shell recently on the small batch stuff because they're all unique. And I think it's more appropriate to do them in small batches to give a more consistent look for the small batch items. And so all of these look basically similar. They're all a little bit different because each piece of marbled shell is unique, but we tried to get them all to be roughly the same look in terms of color and texture. So going up on sale at 6 p.m. Central tonight, this is a black marbled shell Cordovan Frank the Enforcer. Take a look at the incredible color range in the black marbled shells. It sort of ranges from orangey tan to a forest green, and then all of the colors in between. Here's a look at the other one. Same sort of idea here. And each piece of marbled shell is a little bit different. So it's good to see a nice range. And in fact, if you're interested in one of these, I'd love to send you a photo so you can pick from our stock the perfect one for you. And here's the marbled color 8 shell Cordovan Johnny the Fox. This is the other item going up on sale. People seem to be really interested in the Johnny the Fox. I'm expecting these to go pretty quickly, and I think it's because it's just a very relatable style. It's a very traditional bifold wallet in an incredible piece of color 8 marbled shell. And I was really happy with all of the color 8 marbled shells that we're able to cut into these foxes. I think it has this really interesting subtle marbling that most people like. I like a very dramatic sort of marbled look, perhaps a little bit more similar to this one here, where you see there's a dark line on the top and then immediately goes lighter. I like a really dramatic contrast, but I think most people like a more subtle look. And this one is also quite a bit more subtle in terms of the marbling. Let me give you a look at the inside. This is again a custom horsehide latigo that was made just for us by Horween to keep the thickness down. I think these are just about perfect for thickness. All right, here's the big surprise. I'll just let you take this one in because this is insane. So I've got this going up as a private stock item, and this is Tumbled Natural Shell Cordovan, and it's sort of like a double reverse, but not all the way. So on the outside, Tumbled Natural Shell here, which is totally beautiful. Take a look at the peaks and valleys of that tumbled shell. That's really neat, and that's on top of reverse Tumbled Natural. So you see the ink stamp on the outside. So when we flip this around, and on the inside here, you can see this is all Tumbled Natural Shell Cordovan. It's a really clean look with the same leather going all the way through the inside. The card holders are all Tumbled Natural, and then that centerpiece that we flipped around, also Tumbled Natural. So this is going up as a special private stock item. So by the time you see this video, this special private stock Fat Herbie will be up. There's actually 4 of these that are pretty similar, and they're all really special. We've had a nice batch of tumbled shells that had to make into our flagship wallet. So you can get it up on the website right now on the flash sale page. You can find it there. You can find that alongside these marbled shell Cordovan Franks and also the marbled shell Cordovan Johnny the Foxes that I showed you a minute ago. Let me get that out again. But thanks for checking out the Cordo train today. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, hope you have a good one.